And then the sooner we get those cost estimates, the sooner we can make an informed decision on the rest of it.
Well, and that's one of the things that,
We're just talking about this barrel section of City Hall, and then
I was talking about the
cost estimates for just the more traditional roof on the remaining sections where you don't have the,
for that option, for if you're gonna include the, is that right? That, just get a cost estimate of green roof for this section.
Oh, sure, yeah, no, I can let go of the green roof on the sides, but
And that way it'll give us, I mean, it's difficult to, like, to put this all together if you don't have a cost breakdown of it.
one suggestion, have you ever been to the public safety building? They've got kind of almost a sunken in roof. You can view from the second floor, third floor, I can't remember. But that building might be it might be already structurally okay for a green roof.
It's
Plus,
a newer building, so
you can see it. There's a visual there where there's no access for anybody to see the green roof at City Hall because there's not a viewing area, or there's really not a very good access point to even show people that there's a green roof. So I think basically all we have is that there's an antenna outside in the back of the building that you'd have to climb up to go see the green roof today. So it's not a very good public viewing area, if they could see it at all. But
Do you, I think you already said this, but I'm just wanting to confirm, you think you can get those cost estimates to us by the voting meeting? Is that possible?
Yes. I think there's one issue I would like to kind of follow up on. Commissioner Wilder mentioned the energy savings and heat reduction and so forth. Over this section right here, the insulation is all above the ceilings in the attic space. You're not going to change that, really, with the green roof. We can put a green roof up there, but I'm just saying the energy savings is not going to be there because the insulation is all down here.
It's almost like a second story in the attic.
Mm-hmm. It's separate. There's air flowing
Through it.
between up in the attic. That's,
oh, I see.
Mr. Ray?
insulation, you're saying
No, that's fine.
insulation.
I mean, I
is
still
right
think it
there
makes sense in
hanging
the
out
long
in
run because
the
it
corner.
lasts
well, yeah,
so
you
much
can,
longer.
yeah, you can see
I'll
some.
say, I think the
And
whole
require way
thing,
less maintenance.
the whole point on, like, really the concept behind the green roofs is to try to, a lot of reasons, to cool the areas, especially if you can get more in the downtown areas in the cities where there's groups of buildings. Just it decreases the ambient temperature. And when I had a chance to meet with the folks in Chicago and see theirs, the City Hall portion of their government building has the green roof design on it, and the county portion of that building does not. And with the infrared cameras, the ambient temperature coming off of the City Hall side of the roof was pretty much close to whatever the temperature was.
Air temperature.
Air temperature. But on the county side, it was much higher. It was like 114. I don't know if I shared those pictures with you or not, but it showed with the FLIR technology, infrared technology, showed the big differences. And so the whole concept is if more people will do that on their buildings in the city centers, and it sort of.
Was that roof black?
The City Hall side, I mean the
county
county
side.
side?
Well,
I
the
think
point I
so.
wanted to make was this roof is now black.
I think it was, I'm not exactly sure.
More than likely, what we would end up putting on here in the new roof is going to be either white or a lighter color. That's going to make a big difference in
I'll have to go
itself.
back and look at those pictures, I don't remember.
But you are correct that
But that was-
controlling the heat will make the roof last longer, and that's really the important thing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, just those were a lot of different aspects of why green roofs were being done in cities. And I don't know, in Frankfort, the density of our area may not be,
According to the people I've talked to,
Yeah,
Kentucky
it's-
really doesn't have that problem.
as I said, as critical as what it is in some of the larger places.
We got plenty of stormwater though.
Okay, could we try to bring this to a close here? What is what you guys want to do?
I think,
State what it is and see if we got support for it.
okay, the direction I'd like to take is to get cost estimates on all of those by our voting meeting and then make a decision at that point.
Okay.
I agree. I'd be happy to go ahead and add authorization to shore up the cracked beam at our voting meeting, but.
Would that, okay,
We can't do anything anyway.
other two commissioners have what,
I'll say, Mayor, we can't authorize anything anyway, so it's not gonna hurt, because we can't act tonight.
but we got to give some kind of direction.
No, yeah, to get the cost estimate so we can vote, make a decision at our meeting, which would be next week.
In 2
We're gonna do
weeks.
the voting meeting. Okay, we've changed the schedule. So,
And I'm not talking about authorizing tonight. I'm just talking about getting on the
Right.
agenda for 2 weeks.
and then look at the cost
Right.
as it's been discussed, and then we'll look at it and see if it's whichever direction we want to go in. And I'll be happy either way. We need to get the roof fixed for the fire department ASAP. And if we can do the green roof in some form and it's not still cost prohibitive and time elements don't dictate a lot of problems, I know, in terms of displacing workers, then it would be great. And if we can't do it, then maybe we'll look at another option on some other city buildings that would work. I know when we did this public safety building, I don't know, some of the space outside, I think it is needed to be used for other reasons, but if we can add some places just as models so people can see what can be done, that's fine.
Okay. Mr. Hackbar, would you speak back to me and to us what you're going to do as a result of what we just said?
Okay. I'll bring to you all at the voting meeting cost estimates for the traditional roofing option, repair, I say traditional, the 3 options that we had looked at prior for the section of the roof. It's not the barrel section that's currently under this room and this section of City Hall, and the section number 1 that does not need to be supported, that is capable of handling the green roof. And so we'll have those 3 options versus those 3 options plus the options that are capable of being converted to a green roof.
Okay, is that
And
what y'all said?
The repairs to the structural members, as outlined in the report.
Okay, is that clear? Yeah.
That's about right.
Okay, all
Very
right.
good job,
All right, we got that clear. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank
Yes,
you all.
thank you.
Thank you all.
Very good. Thank you, Jeff and Mr. Banks and all the consultants.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next.
Next item would be the parking lot at the upper side of East Broadway between the Grace Fellowship Church and the large brick building owned by Bianca Wall. This small piece of land is presently being used as a kind of a makeshift parking lot, and there's been considerable interest in it in the last few months. And Mr. Moore has looked into it and provided us a diagram of that, which if you were coming down East Main Street, you would drop sharply over the steep hill and start on the Broadway. And this particular piece of land would be on your right. For quite some time, it was thought to be owned by the Frankfort Plant Board, but after doing a deed search, Mr. Moore found this belongs to the city of Frankfort, and it does still have an existing piece of equipment that is operable and maintained by the Frankfort Plant Board. So whatever is done with this land, and we've got to maintain an easement for the plant board equipment. And Mr. Moore, you want to add to that? I just kind of introduced it here. I hope I was accurate on what I said.
Right, well, a couple of things. One is Jeff Hackbar's the one who provided the map, so all credit to Jeff. All credit to Tom. But I'm sure you've seen from the sheet that was provided to you earlier that there are at least 2 entities that are interested in it, possibly 3 if Plan Graphics owner, the owner of the Plant Graphics property ends up being interested in it. I would say that if Capital View Development, the company that owns Plant Graphics, indicates an interest in the property, if they either lease or buy this property from the city, then they would want to amend the lease that they currently have for parking down here at the old Blanton Landing site. So, if you'll recall, Capital View Development currently leases that property down there on Blanton Landing. And of course, the city, or the commission, you all can transfer that piece of property with or without compensation for economic development purposes. You can sell it public auction following publication, or you can sell it by electronic auction. I think Bill Scalf has been involved in some electronic auction, but I believe that's been a reverse auction process. Or you can sell it by sealed bids. It looks like if you wanted to, I believe that if you did want to allow Grace Fellowship to do so, it would be willing to lease it and would probably be willing to grant other parties that are interested the ability to use the property during the week when the church is not using the property. But I don't know whether that would be consistent with Bianca Wall's interest, because it's my understanding, based upon a conversation with this company called Cohen Esri, that she wants to, she needs to buy that lot so that she could put senior housing into the warehouse there, and you would have to have parking in order to put the senior housing in there and get assistance from Kentucky Housing Corporation.
We need to get it appraised before we sell, if that's the option?
You don't have to, but I would recommend that you do so, because if you do sell it either by sealed bids or by public auction, you would probably want to have a reserve.
Right.
But there are 2 known groups right now that have a strong interest in it.
Right, and Mr. Erler, who's the realtor for Plan Graphics owner, Capital View Development, has said that they're probably interested in it, but he hadn't gotten back with me. I sent him a letter about 10 days ago.
Just for the information of the commission, back, I don't know, a month or so ago, the developers that's working with Mrs. Wall, asked me to attend a meeting, which I did, and they were talking about they putting these apartments on the 2nd and 3rd floor for seniors 55 and older. And so I asked the question, what about parking space? They said, we have to have some. I said, how many parking spaces do you need? They didn't say. But they just said we need some parking spaces. Now understand that at that particular meeting, they said they were looking at putting in 24 to 26 apartments, but I'm leaving a little correspondence I got today, it might have been 30 or something in there that they plan to put in there. But that would be considered part of the downtown development in our historical district, and that's what they're using this company from Overton, Kansas, or over somewhere in Kansas, is the one that's be working on the development of that. I just want you to know that is, yeah.
It's gonna be some, I pray that none of those seniors have to get a hip replacement or anything, you have to be on crutches, because did they ever get those steps taken care of on that sidewalk? Okay. It's a steep hill to climb to get to your car.
What, oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's it. If that's her plan.
Who's turn?
I guess one question is, would it make both sides happy if we could, well, let me rephrase it probably would not. But what if we kept this as just public parking? I mean, could that meet the needs that Ms. Wall is needing, as well as the church?
I don't know.
Certainly a possibility.
Yeah.
I think the church is very flexible. I'm not sure how flexible Ms. Wall can be just because of the restrictions and requirements of Kentucky housing.
Sure. That's something we could get an answer to, maybe.
No. Yeah, on my desk, I have a letter I've been requested to sign. I just saw it this afternoon when I came in. Regarding this company that's working with Mrs. Wall is making an application to the Kentucky Housing Corporation for a low-interest loan to do this type of work. And so, I believe they wanted to present this letter like first part of October to someone. So it seemed to me to have a conversation perhaps with the Mrs. Wall or this company to check on that. And we have another session on Monday to gather as much information we can from Ms. Wall.
We'll contact them before Monday and have that information for you all, and contact the church as well.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. The next item, we would ask Mr. Hackbart to give us a report about the request for West Main Street two-way traffic study.
Yes, I contacted QK4's local engineering firm here in Frankfort. They have actually the planning commissions. They do all the traffic study and analysis for the city and county joint planning commission. And just asked them for a cost estimate of what it would cost to convert Main Street from a one-way to a two-way. The requirement of a traffic study is one that the transportation cabinet, in order to get a permit to make this change, they would require the city to do a traffic study. They're not so worried about Main Street, the street that's actually going to be changed to a two-way street. They're more concerned of how that change would impact Ann Street, and they would want us to look at every intersection along Ann from Miro down to Main. So the cost that I received today was about a $20,000 to $30,000 cost estimate to perform that traffic study, which includes a day or two of time to go out and talk to the businesses along probably Ann and Main, and to do a traffic count current, because our last traffic count was probably back in 2000 when the state performed an actual traffic plan for Franklin County, but those numbers are probably out of date at this point, and they said we would need to get new traffic count numbers. So that's kind of just a report back to you all of what, that's one phase of the project. Now, if you got a permit to actually convert the street, there's also other costs in converting those lights to accommodate two-way traffic. And at this point, we don't have anything in writing from the state if that would be on our dime or if they would help assist us in the funding of changing out the traffic lights themselves.
lights, plural?
Well, the traffic light at Main and
And
Ann specifically.
Commissioner Hidden?
would they also think possibly of maybe a roundabout at that area with the study, taking out the light?
A roundabout at Main and
So that you
Ann
would just
Street.
avoid the light and you would just kind of like yield whichever way you were gonna go?
That if you would like to see the study incorporate that idea as
Yeah,
an
just-
option to a light.
Possibly, I mean, if it could be looked at with it.
We can probably get an idea of what the land requirement, I'm not sure what that is, but we could,
It seems big enough.
I can tack on to that. I would love to wave a magic wand and see a roundabout right there. I think that would make a lot of sense. I suspect that would probably be a state decision though. As in, because the stretch of street that's one way
Right,
is pure city. Pure city. The state's only relevant to the extent that stretch ends or begins, depending on how you look at it, on a state road, which is where the light and that intersection are. And we can make decisions about city roads and about city intersections.
so Main
I don't
Street's
know.
just state, Ann Street city.
I think Ann Street is state, pure state, and Main Street is actually mostly state. As in, if you go up West Main, you're on a state road the whole time until you get to and through that intersection in front of Farmers Bank. When you cross Ann and Main Street becomes one way, that's when it becomes a city. Right there, it's a city road, because the rest of it's state highway, right? But the section there that you're suggesting a roundabout for, I think that would be great, but that would probably be a matter of convincing the state to do it.
Well, you can't turn, you wouldn't be able to turn right on the Ann because it's one way. You would
Right.
just be able to continue down East Main,
Yeah.
or East Main to continue, and Ann looping around.
I think it makes a
Where
lot
you
of
could go
sense.
forward toward
And if we're gonna, I think,
farmers.
I think your question's a really good one, to the extent that if we're gonna do a traffic study there anyway,
Can we look at it?
if that wouldn't have a significant impact on the cost of the study, you might as well get that information too. But, I mean, if you think that would raise the cost of the study another $20,000-$30,000 for a decision that isn't ours, then I would get pretty hesitant.
we'll ask the question, yes.
Okay. Worst thing you can do is say it costs more.
Right.
We'll say we don't want it.
Right.
And I can report back at the next,
Okay.
at our actual at our voting meeting of how that would change the estimate I brought tonight.
So it's 30,000, right? Is that what you said?
20 to 30.
20 to 30, okay.
Mr. Hackbart, would a roundabout be subject to a 6-year road plan?
No, the 6-year road plan those are actually projects that are already funded. Now there's a unscheduled needs list that those projects that were scoped out in that 2000 traffic study, which the downtown was, and it was kind of looked at pros and cons of one-way versus two-way, but those projects have to be prioritized through local, the state, and make it to the 6-year plan to get funding. Even the 6-year plan is what we called, it's really a 20-year plan probably, because those projects have been on the 6-year plan for years and years. Just the funding from the state is pretty tough to get for transportation projects, especially for new ideas. It's very difficult.
I assume that we have some money budgeted for this sort of study. Is that fair?
We have, we can use municipal aid, which is the money that we get to repave our streets and
Sure.
fix our sidewalks. We can use that money for engineering studies for transportation issues that wouldn't come out of the general fund.
Okay, are we, what's the feeling of the commission? We want to go ahead and get this studied, between $20,000 and $30,000?
Well, the cost estimate for do the traffic study,
I suppose, yeah.
20 to 30. I guess the question was asked tonight, what about the option of looking at a roundabout at this intersection in addition to the two-way versus one-way on the permit? That's probably more of a conversation to have with the transportation cabinet, since it's within their right-of-way. And that may be just a conversation. If yes or no, we're not interested, it's not gonna meet and get that for free. And if they say, well, yeah, I like that idea, we've been looking for a place, then maybe incorporate that into a traffic study to help see if it's feasible.
Can you have a conversation this week?
We can have a conversation. So.
Okay, maybe for Monday,
Great,
get a little bit.
yeah.
Thanks, Jeff.
Okay, thank
Checking the road.
Mayor, the next item was a proposed Parkside TIF, and we've got some late-breaking news that Phillips Edison notified the county today that they will not be submitting a TIF for Parkside.
I assume they had a reason.
Pardon?
I assume they have a reason.
Did you have a reason?
We've just been notified while this meeting was going on, so I'm certain they had reasons. It's a significant project, but we have not had time to hear those reasons.
So yeah, I suspect the reason is that they sense a lack of adequate support from the officers and staff of the various agencies, but that's just my suspicion.
Okay.
And then our last item is a report about the WasteCon conference and the proposed pay-as-you-throw garbage plan.
Okay, it's Mr. Wilder's trip, right?
Sure, although Tom was there too, so please chip in. I just wanted to give you all a little bit of a sense of some of the stuff we learned and some of the stuff we gathered. I've also brought some items for show and tell. Yeah, right.
Can we touch it?
Here are some bag and
Should we
sticker.
put it back?
These are bag and sticker options for pay-as-you-throw system. Just to give you some examples. I mean, the best bags and stickers are kind of an either-or thing. You can either handle overflow with stickers or with bags. And the bags and the stickers, which makes a lot of sense. This isn't what I envisioned.
How big is yours?
What size are these? I mean, these are pretty sizable.
1.25.
And the stickers aren't meant to be.
Get in it?
So I think maybe we had a slightly wrong concept of the stickers. The stickers aren't meant to be just stuck on the bags like this. They're meant, so you've got the bag full of trash, tied at the top. They stick on like this around the top of the bag, which means that they're in the same place on every bag.
Commissioners, you talk, so we
Sure.
should record
Oh, yeah.
this for the public.
The stickers, I think when we talked about the stickers before and deciding bags versus stickers, we had, I think, well, I can only speak for myself, but I just imagine, I think we talked about stickers being stuck on bags and about folks having to look for them and the possibility of the stickers coming off and those all being concerns. The stickers actually go around the top of the bag like this, so they're actually pretty easy to identify. You don't have to search the bag for the sticker. And it's also much harder for a sticker to come off. I guess, and the folks who are there to speak to pay as you throw. Oh, sorry. Certainly don't have a dog in the fight because they'd be happy to sell stickers or bags. But the guy did mention that that when you offer bags, you tend to see a lot of double bagging. as in lots of folks have their kitchen bag at home, which they then set inside one of these bags to get set out to the curb. And then the stickers here, I mean, they've got a number of different examples, but for example, we've got trash tag for trash overflow, a sticker to designate something as yard waste, another type of overflow sticker, and specifically a tag intended for large items. It's not even a tag for a bag, but a tag that you would put on the sofa or the stove or whatnot to set out. I just thought folks would like to see those. I have opinions on some of this stuff, but I'll withhold my opinions until I've given my report. I'll give as neutral a report as I can, and then I'll share some opinions. There were some real interesting talks about quantifying and tracking the results of recycling in pay-as-you-throw systems, because you would think it would be a simple matter of, and that's a good thing to do, obviously. When you implement a system like this, you want to quantify the results, or a new recycling system or anything like that. And you would think that would just be a matter of measuring your recycling to waste tonnage ratio before and after implementation, right? And you'd think that would give you a pretty clear picture. But there were a few folks there talking about the variables that need to be taken into account in order to get an accurate reading. One example, lots of plastics these days, like this bottle here for your bottled water is significantly more efficient and weighs less than the version that was being made just a year or two ago. So the plastics industry keeps refining their process to get the weight of their plastics down, and lots of packaging keeps diminishing in the interest of conservation. And so as a result, the plastic tonnage that we recycle should go down because the weight of the product is going down. So on paper, if we were just measuring a tonnage to tonnage ratio, on paper we would see that we implemented this new recycling program and it looks like people are recycling less because the recycling weights have gone down. So there were just a good list of factors like that you had to take into account if you want to get an accurate measure of how your program is actually impacting your waste stream. And there were some resources available, not for cost, but resources available in terms of kind of introducing some of those variables into the system. Lots of folks spoke to the I guess pretty quantifiable fact that when it comes to bin sizes, like when it comes to offering recycling bins, for example, that across the board, the larger bin you offer, the larger bin people have, the more they recycle. That's been pretty.
The larger the recycling.
The larger the bin, the greater the rate, and that's just been pretty well tracked and quantified across the board. And another concept came up, and I assume that Tom and Jeff could maybe speak to this a little bit, but plenty of other cities lease out rights for private garbage collection within their limits. As in, right now, the businesses downtown, for example, any business in town or any apartment complex that we don't pick up garbage from, they have to pay a private hauler to come in and do that. And it's not uncommon for cities to actually negotiate a kind of set rate and to lease the rights for private hauling to one particular contractor who would pay us, $200,000 a year, and for the right to do business in Frankfort. And then within that context, I think we could negotiate, reasonable terms for folks. So essentially, I mean, is that anything y'all could speak to a little bit?
Like a franchise fee.
Yeah.
There's probably a couple of ways to do, where I've seen a franchise fee is where you actually bid out the rights to come into Frankfort, and you can receive sole rights. So if you're company A, you put in a bid and offer set pricing, and then I guess the city would have the right to select which firm gets to participate in Frankfort, and then they pay a fee to the city to operate here. Another way I've heard, Georgetown kind of did it a little different. They did a franchise fee, and from what I understand, they actually let anybody come into Georgetown and do the service, but you have to pay the tipping fee, a percentage, back to the city. That one I like because it brings in a lot of competition, but the hard part is tracking that, they may go to a landfill in Georgetown or they may not. So it's really hard to pinpoint where that truck's going to dump and collect the fee. So in one way, it's very nice because you get a lot of competition, but another way, it's hard to collect the fee. So those are two options.
Do you have any ballpark sense of what those numbers would mean to Frankfurt? Are we talking about $100,000, $200,000 revenue?
That seems reasonable. I don't know. Let's say, trash is big business, and
Sure.
what they come to Frankfurt and they operate, there's a lot of business here in Frankfurt,
Yeah.
Franklin County. I just don't really have a ballpark of what revenues they would, what they come in and get. I'd say Republic, who's the biggest in the county, you could probably investigate and get some answers through Republic. They would share that. I don't know. $100,000 to $200,000 seems like a reasonable franchise fee to operate in Frankfurt.
Okay. That's, I think that's something we should really consider. I mean, especially since the parameters we set for the garbage program now, frankly, and we're still not covering the cost of collection. We don't want to run. This could help us avoid running a deficit.
I would like to add that I agree with Commissioner Wilder on that. I think that it is a good idea, because regardless of if you do a pay-as-you-throw system, if you get the new cans, you're going to have turnover, which we've estimated roughly 200,000, is that right? Per year, the turnover for replacement of those bins?
Once the program's started, the industry says after the 5th or 6th year, you start seeing about a 10% that you need to replace. The 200,000 you're talking to is the 5-year lease.
Okay.
Broke the cost of the cans over the 5 years.
Right, but weren't we going to, after that 5 years is up, still, in theory, keep that $200,000 budgeted?
It would be about 100,000.
Or 100,000. Well, regardless, if we were to able to put some sort of leasing agreement with a larger solid waste company, that could supplement a lot of that cost for us, so that we're not having to take it out of the general fund. So I think that that's a good idea.
I think we need to make sure that the city's still picking up the city's trash and not having the BFI lease with the Parks and Rec Department as well, so we're not leasing ourselves.
Fair enough.
If we franchise out, would it include state government
And the hospital, too.
and the hospital there in the city limits, of course? In other words, a vendor would get a significant amount of business if they could get state government. And so that would be to our advantage.
Who does handle state government?
I guess my question to that would be, the state government has current contracts with some private hauler, and can we charge beyond what their contract price is for to operate in the city of Frankfort?
That's a good question.
We need to research that.
One question I have is, was there any discussion of whether the implementation of a franchise fee resulted in higher costs to, in this case, it would be the commercial customers? In other words, would a company like Republic then turn around and
Pass the
increase
cost along.
Pass the cost along to the customer?
I think the deeper question is are there opportunities within these actually set rates? As in, could this be done in a way such that this cost doesn't get passed along to the customer?
I think the way I understand how some rates are set with the private haulers, some of the smaller companies that operate
Mm-hmm.
probably just always pay the fee, and it may go up a little bit, but they don't change or ask if they can change because they treat it like a utility. And so they don't recognize with garbage service, you can go and actually negotiate. So, well, if I'm not happy with this rate, I'm going to go to company B or C. And so what happens, some companies may be overpaying because they never think about renegotiating, because I don't do that with the water company. It's what it is, what it is. So in those cases, you might get some customers that actually get a lower rate. But on the bigger customers that, like the state governments, the hospital, some of the commercial or industrial, they probably bid that out like the city would and get more competitive rates because of quantities, would be, I guess, my thought.
What would we need to do to, what would we need to do to take another step towards looking at this? And if you don't know off the top of your head, that's
yeah,
fine.
I'm just trying to think tonight, but I guess we could do like a work session as part of this and come back and report back of what we found. Actually we have talked to Georgetown, who recently franchised, but some other entities, and just a more formal report back to you all of some of the questions we brought up tonight about, can we tack on a fee on top of someone's private contract? Or what's some options of how do we collect again? How do we bill for that? And with some of the maybe legal issues, working with Rob on, and maybe answering some of the legal issues that we would face in doing the franchise fee.
And we're meeting tomorrow morning anyway to review the ordinance revision, so that would be an opportunity to do that.
So, great.
When would you like a report back on this topic? The work session in October?
I think that's fine. I mean, as long as we could, if we were to do this, ideally we could get this sorted out by the end of the year.
Yeah, I think this one's timing-wise not critical.
Right.
As far as ordering the cans, getting
That's much more.
putting our order out. I think I heard 3 months by the time you place the order before it would be delivered, assembled, and put out to the curb. So I guess an ordinance, a budget amendment, I guess, is kind of the trigger point of ordering the cans. And so from that date, it sounded to me like about a 3-month period to place the order before the project could actually start.
I think hearing from this in October would be fine. Is that? Great.
Just amazing.
I don't have any questions. It's
I also heard, just talk to a number of cart manufacturers. Thanks, guys. Just to give my last update before I get into some other stuff. I got, just talked to a bunch of the cart manufacturers, and I know staff did too, and collected a lot of information from them. We also got a look at an automated truck that's manufactured where? Pretty close. Cynthiana. Which, in terms of servicing that thing and whatnot, that's
That'd be nice.
that's convenient, and it's nice to keep things close to home anyway. Rough estimates, just based on what we were talking about, as in 20,000 cans of variable sizes, rough estimates from companies. One estimate was 30, in terms of smallest to largest, $36, $40, and $48 per cart. Another was along the lines of 30, 40, 45 per cart. What was another estimate was 33, 39, 45 per cart. You do the math on that, and that comes out to significantly less than $1 million. But that's just the carts themselves. Distributing the carts is a trick, obviously. And especially when you have variable sizes. I mean, if everybody were getting the exact same size cart, you drive them the street, hand them all out, and even that's a big enough job. But folks were talking about that maybe being, in terms of the full, 3-month process that Jeff referenced, folks were talking about that as being a 2-week, the distribution, as in, once the carts get in Frankfort, the distribution is about a 2-week process. Other cost elements include things like hot stamping a serial code, or something like that onto the can.
May I speak?
Please do.
We currently have a spec that we've prepared in anticipation of the bid. And one of the things that is in that spec is this little RFID card
Okay.
that will
Great.
go in the handle, and a scanner to go with it. And when they pass it out, they'll scan it, they'll put the house number, and so we'll know if we find that can someplace else, we know where it's supposed to go.
Right.
Or if we need to switch that can out, we'll go scan it, tell them to delete that from this house and give them a different size can and put it back in. And so the inventory software and all that's included in the spec for this as well.
I think that's a really great system. If we were to hot stamp addresses onto the cans, then anybody who were to upgrade or change their can that can would essentially be useless. Their old can would essentially be useless by virtue of an outdated address on it.
Right.
But that information can be altered digitally under this system. And it makes, my understanding is that this system also makes the distribution of the cans easier.
Can I ask a question on one of the concerns that I would foresee is damage to this particular?
That goes inside the handle.
Inside the handle? Okay,
Yeah.
so there's not much risk of damage?
No, and it's not a battery operated. When they scan it, it energizes it and they read it, and so they're guaranteed for the life of the can.
Wow, so it's like a warranty deal per can?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
There were, and in terms of specs and putting this out to bid, for what it's worth, there were at least a couple of the companies, I think, that have existing state contracts that they felt could be that we could essentially piggyback onto. I mean, that kind of has two effects. One, that could make us part of a larger bulk purchase and result in a degree of a price break. That also potentially would allow us to circumvent the bidding process. I don't know how relevant that is.
In terms of speed?
Yeah. Yeah. But that's just something to be aware of. I feel like I can't recall if I had one. I feel like I had one more thing to mention, but maybe. Oh, this is just something that I can hand around too. This is there's just some other resources here. Like this is a notice that gets sent out if they don't collect your stuff and the reason why. Just a checklist. And then I don't have this. I didn't make it home with this, but I saw a similar checklist that was used for what would be the first part of the process in terms of gauging what folks might or might not want. I could access that and share it, but it's probably not necessary. I'm sure staff could handle that on their own.
Speaking of which, do you have comments based on our questionnaire we handed in last time?
No, I do not have any. I don't have any comments. I thought it was a good
Okay.
job.
Yeah. Thank you. In terms of time frame, I think we've gotten a lot of information together, and I think we're getting pretty close to the point where we kind of need to make a decision one way or the other in terms of moving forward. My recollection is that there is a broad enough agreement to go ahead and purchase the cans and to go ahead and make that budget amendment so we can move to an automated collection system regardless. But if we're going to go pay as you throw, we've got to work in time before purchasing the cans to know what to purchase.
Right.
So I'd really like to see us go ahead and start getting some action items on the agenda in those terms.
Well, and if I can interject.
Please.
I would be ready to go ahead and support the purchase of the cans, of course. But Rob, when do you expect to have a draft on those ordinance revisions? I can't remember when we asked to have that done.
Well, in talking with Jeff, he indicated that they've taken a shot at doing some of the drafting, so we really need to look at, I was waiting to look at their draft, so I haven't looked at it at this point. I couldn't see where it would take more than 2 weeks, though, I mean.
Okay. So then, once we have that, we have actual, sort of an action.
Well, I think yes, getting the ordinance drafted is a big piece of it. In terms of time frame, the step in the process that's holding everything up right now is getting the questionnaire out.
Yes.
It's getting the questionnaire out and distributed. I don't believe we need to pass an ordinance in order to move forward on that. But that does amount to us. I mean, that would still amount to a majority of the commission.
Well,
Essentially saying, yes, we do want to go ahead and move in this direction, and then start lining up, the ordinances that would need to be changed in the budget work that would need to be done. I'm comfortable going ahead and authorizing the release of that questionnaire and public education process, and frankly, would like to see that happen as soon as possible.
I'd second that.
Is there support for his?
I'm sorry, Mayor, can somebody tell me what the actual proposal is?
It's to go ahead and just start distributing the questionnaire
So that they can order.
that was shared with us before for the can sizes.
But that doesn't have any, I'm sorry, Mayor.
But if I recall correctly, that questionnaire does include and would have to include the suggested cost
Yes.
of each can. The 0, 4, 12 numbers that have been tossed out. So, I mean, it does represent a pretty committed step in this direction. Having said that, theoretically, we could go down this road, people could decide which can sizes they want. We could scrap the pay-as-you-throw thing, and then people could get the can sizes they want.
Right.
I mean,
Doesn't completely
it's not
lock
fully
you in.
committed, but it is a step in that direction.
It doesn't completely lock you in, but it certainly keeps the options open as you're going
Right.
forward.
But if we want these cans out by January 1st, then this questionnaire needs to go ahead and get out. And this public process needs to start.
Mr. May?
I was gonna say, I didn't quantify them, so I'll just say, I don't remember how many calls or comments I've gotten from residents in the community who are concerned about being able to, what to do with a larger rollout can, especially like the folks who are elderly.
Mm-hmm.
I just told people to call all of you all too, and some of them said that they didn't know how to get in touch with you, so I said, well, just call City Hall, and you can leave one message for everybody. It was the easiest thing. So I don't know if people have followed up with you all or not, but that's a concern that I still have that I just wanted to share. So I'm not, again, I'm saying I'm not really ready to commit on this, but if the others go forward, I mean, it's not anything we're gonna lose sleep over, it's just, I'm not comfortable right now without knowing some more variables on how those cans are easily moved. I mean, I still like the concept of the automated pickup, I think, because that's something that's been thrown around for a bit. But I don't want to give the impression to citizens that we're getting ready to go to a pay-as-you-throw thing and have some people are really scared actually about it, so I don't want people to get anxiety about it. And I think there is some, I don't know how widespread that is, because it's easy to say I've gotten a lot of calls. I've gotten some calls. I didn't log them in, but that's one of the concerns I have, just not knowing exactly what the can's going to be, how much it's going to weigh empty when there's bags in it. Obviously, the weight will be more. I think the ones that we have seen, though, the wheels are pretty big, so I don't know how easily that can be moved with more weight in it or not. Those are just some questions that are still in my mind, and that's why I may not be ready to move forward yet. But if there's a majority, of course, we obviously respect that. But just to share that.
For what it's worth, having seen all the cans in the different sizes, I'm pretty confident that the smallest option, the 35-gallon option, would be significantly easier for folks to move than the current standard garbage can that's slightly larger and doesn't have wheels. They're really pretty manageable.
We have one if you want it.
You have some here. I mean, I've seen Clay. I don't need to see it, but if
I've seen those.
The 35?
the 35s are really pretty. They're really a pretty small can and pretty manageable. And those are the ones we're talking about offering for free.
But it's important to note that the 35-gallon can is bigger than the standard can that is used today in the city, which is a 32-gallon can. So people, if you use one can now, and if you go into next year and this page that was passed, you're going to be given more. You have more space than what you had.
Although that brings up a really good point. I'm glad you brought that up. This 35, 65, 95 business is not standard. It's not uniform across all the can options. So one company is going to offer something like 32, 63, and 94. You know, that's kind of really just a range.
Sure.
So most of the 30-odd-gallon cans actually were 32-gallon. We're 32-gallon can. So we'll just. I mean, I don't really care where things land in that range, but those aren't, the 35, 65, 95 are not hard numbers. FYI.
So what you'd rather?
It's another questionnaire.
Yeah.
Send out the questionnaire.
I have a couple questions, if I may.
Mm-hmm.
Questionnaire says the city of Frankfort is converting the current program to pay-as-you-throw. So I really kind of need to change that language. Because.
I mean, I'm happy to go ahead and personally commit to that. But if folks would be more comfortable leaving that open, that's pretty understandable.
I'm happy to commit.
I guess I could use the word consider.
Support for that. Got 3 people.
I'm not for it now.
Pardon?
I'm not for it at this time.
I'm not either.
I think it's considering.
Considering.
You are, if you,
When you call me?
I said Katie. Mr. Commissioner.
Considering.
Did you get the 3? Okay, you got 3.
To use the word considering. Is that-
Sure, and
Is that
I guess
correct?
that still leaves the door kind of just open. I guess one last note I make, and this doesn't necessarily need to be reflected in the questionnaire, but we might want to think about if somebody really wants to set out 90 gallons of trash every week and really can't handle the large cans, then they'll seem to have the option to have multiple cans. And you know, and for the price per gallon to remain the same as it is now. I don't think that needs to be reflected in the questionnaire, but I think if folks call with that kind of concern,
We could
that we
do
should be
that
able to
with-
work with them.
We could always work out something with seniors or with
Sure.
those that are disabled that can't manage it. On the recycling cart, do you want us to offer the 3 sizes?
I guess so. I mean,
Could you
Okay.
maybe put something at the bottom with an asterisk?
The standard is like.
Standard may vary by 3 gallons depending on the company we use.
Yeah.
I mean, I again, just given, I think I was on the minority on this when it came up before. But this is the opinion that I withheld from my report. But given the pretty clear data on the size of containers affecting the rates of use, I guess I would still prefer that the default size be 95, but that's absolutely not a sticking point, and I understand people's reasons for 65. But is that still the idea? Is to keep the 65 the default, and then just let it all be optional in case somebody wants the larger or the smaller.
That was my understanding.
Okay.
I agree to that.
That's fine with me. I don't need to press on that.
Okay.
And how much time do we want to give this process? If we cut the time, if we take a month to do this, then we cut then we give ourselves a 2.5 month window for the tail end.
How long do we need for the bid?
The 7-day minimum for the bid advertisement
Mhm.
for the city requirements, so that's very reasonable.
Wondering how long we want to give folks, how long do we think we need to take to
For
collect
the-
this
Get the
information?
response back by
Yeah.
this, or you get a default can size.
Right. Do you think we can get away with 3 weeks?
I was just trying to come backwards from.
From
when-
January?
Well, no, when's this,
That's what I'm doing.
we can't bid it until we get the second reading
Uh-huh.
of the budget amendment.
Mhm.
And so that would be,
We've got a special
I
meeting.
mean, unless we call it a special meeting prior to a work session or something.
We already have it, you already have a figure in mind for the budget amendment, right? Like we don't have to get the results of the survey back
no.
in order to make the budget amendment. I mean, I'd be perfectly comfortable going ahead and holding the first reading at 12:15 a week from today, and holding a second reading and voting at the voting meeting, just in terms of the budget amendment.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes, 26th.
I think you give as much time as you can, as you can afford to.
Does that sound okay? Let's hold the readings and vote on the budget amendment this month.
That's fine with me.
Yeah, it's gonna take us a week.
I think we've got majority nods of support, Fred, to get a first reading for the budget amendment next week and a second reading at the voting meeting.
First reading when?
A week from today.
Okay.
And am I correct in understanding that does recall a special call meeting immediately prior to our regular meeting?
I'm sorry, Mayor. I want to be on record
Yes.
as being that I'm opposed. Just
Yeah.
because of the concerns I've mentioned, and I really am afraid that it's going to end up costing citizens more in the long run. But I always reserve the chance, the opportunity to change your mind. If there's information that's brought forward that seems that it would be a benefit to the public, I would always be willing to change. But as of right now, I haven't seen.
I'm with you. Okay, so we'll have that done. Okay. Anything else here on this discussion? Your report, you finished, Commissioner Wilder?
I guess,
To be clear,
Yeah.
you want them to go out, and you want them, how long? 3 weeks?
As soon as possible.
oh no, then how long do we want to
Give them to
we don't just want to give
respond.
people a
Oh.
week to absorb this?
I think 3 or 4 weeks is a reasonable amount of time. Any time longer that you give them, they're gonna start, they'll put it in their mail pile and then they'll forget about it or something like that.
Never done that.
I have to trust me, I have.
We want to say, you know what, actually, 3 weeks is, 3 weeks keeps us on schedule. Because we've got 3 weeks left in this month. So that would,
Put it for the 10th.
that would give us 3 months afterwards. It would cut into that 3 months a little bit, but,
I'm sure we'll need a couple days to get it out the door.
Yeah,
yeah, no doubt, no doubt, no doubt.
I mean, you don't have it ready tonight.
And I guess and this is just curiosity, but what's your plan for getting it out? Are they mailing out, being delivered? Is there any other you know,
We've talked.
PR.
I think mailing it, we talked about maybe putting something on the city website,
Uh-huh.
allowing people to key on there, and enter their address, enter their wishes there.
That's good.
They've worked on that already. The IT department took our form, started some work on that as well. Just kind of, they're like us, they're just kind of waiting for the go-ahead. Did you have other ideas?
I remember back in 2000, we went door to door and handed out proposed ordinance changes, and our employees went out and on a Saturday and just covered the city. And my only hesitation of offering that option again, we had some workman comp issues.
Oh, yeah.
Because guys tripped over something, they didn't come to work for several weeks and got hurt, so.
We've all
Seemed
been
like
out on the
maybe a
campaign
good
trail.
thing at the
It's
time,
rough
but-
out there.
It may be cheaper to send it through mail, and that way it may limit some overtime and workman's comp issues of
That sounds good.
going door to door.
money, man.
I realize that
Get
I re-
the money.
I realize the press is here today, but it'd probably still be a good idea to send out a press release along with that. We just want to make folks as aware as possible of this questionnaire and the fact this is happening.
That will include Cable 10 and those resources as well.
Should, I think.
Oh, yeah, sure. Will Cable 10 put notices like that up for us for free?
You would sure
Yeah.
think so.
That'd be great if they would.
Would you also like me to reword this about the overflow to be a pre-printed bag / sticker?
I'd be happy to go ahead and come down in favor of the stickers for a few reasons. And I know that we had settled on bags, but I think the stickers
We can.
make a lot more
Oh,
sense.
bags.
Oh, as in just to handle the overflow. The stickers, for a number of reasons. First of all, the stickers way easier to distribute. We can actually mail stickers to people, much easier than we can mail those large bags to people. I think that some of the concerns that we had about stickers, about maybe them easily coming off the bags and being hard to identify on the bags, I think given the nature of how the sticker is put on there and whatnot, I don't think that's necessarily a concern. And also, the stickers do give us the opportunity to mark things like yard waste and oversized items, et cetera, if we ever feel that's necessary. That we have that flexibility with the stickers that we just wouldn't have with a bag system. And I think the stickers are also a little cheaper.
There's some more money for us.
Right. So I'd be happy to go ahead and just say stickers, personally.
That's fine with me, Tom, right? It doesn't make much of a difference.
With the stickers and the bags, or I guess now we're talking the bag or the stickers, over $3.
I'd say sticker, yeah.
Everything he's saying, you're agreeing with, right? You gotta have three people saying that.
I'm saying no.
I'm saying no. I'm saying no.
Understood.
So that there has to be three of you have to agree to that. For them to follow through on that. So now, if there's anyone that has opposition, so I guess you got the three.
We got 3 people for
Go to it.
tags over bags.
See the stickers?
Where did the stickers end up?
Took it. Would they always come in the group?
Well, these are all the
Just
options
samples.
available. We would figure out what's actually relevant to our program and just order those.
Per your time there, was it the stickers seemed to work better with bags? What do you think? Department guy?
In reading what some other cities have done, they've had problems with the stickers as far as counterfeiting. It'd be real easy to do that, and our guys are gonna look for a color and throw it in the truck. So, you know, it's a real rush thing out there. That's my biggest concern. If the bags are pre-printed, then our guys can see it a lot easier. They're gonna see what As they look down the street, they're gonna know if it's a black bag or if it's a yellow bag.
Right.
And so that, I think that as far as, from our standpoint of picking it up, the bags would be easier. Plus, you know that you've got it in a container that's not a wet paper sack with a sticker stuck on it, or it's not a box open with a sticker stuck on it. It's in a bag, and so they can grab it and put it in easily enough. So.
I go with this apartment.
That's fine. Either way, it's fine with me.
Yeah, and if we do decide, if we do feel the need to mark yard waste or, because the other thing I like about the stickers, we can always just get stickers as well. To handle stuff like that. Okay, is that everything you all need?
I think so.
Thanks, guys.
Mayor, can I move for adjournment? Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Turner is on it.
I thought the discussion was finished.
I think it is. I think it is. I think that's all they need.
Okay, second. We have a second. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump.
No.
That's why I paused, I didn't know.
I thought you were wrapping.
No, it was your,
In discussion.
you were still on the ball, that's why I had to laugh.
Like you.
Okay, call roll.
Mr. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Hadden?
Yes?
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. May?
Yes.
Mayor Brown?
Yes.
I didn't mean to jump the gun.
You jumped the gun.
No, I just, like,
As soon as,
That's why I paused, because like,
See my new kitten?
I thought about that.
I thought you were kidding at first.
Are we done?
Check somebody else.
Certainly not my intention.
Oh, I didn't, I just wasn't exactly sure. It just came out of, it was.
Well, after I said it, then I was
Longest meeting
like,
we've had.
wait a second here.
No.
I gathered that it was over, but
Yeah, that roundabout would be cool if we could do it. I just don't know about the space there.
There might be.
I mean, I don't know until you
But
look
there
at it. If
might
you're gonna
not
have
be.
people look at it, you might as
Oh,
well.
yeah, you might as well.
like riding in a roundabout, lock it at the stoplight.
Oh, roundabouts are great. Most people get used to them.
And Shelby. I think they need that light because they're in school.
No, it's all black. See, boomers all black. Oh, let me show you. That's just a reflection.
Yeah, roundabouts just make so much more sense.
That's a cute one.
Although some people are criticizing them
There she is.
Well, yeah.
for like traffic, like.
Here's one I'm gonna have painted.
I've always, all the
I love
stuff we
them.
talked about at the mayor's
this one.
conferences were like pretty
That's
positive.
Boomer and Layla, so I'm gonna have.
Have you ever dealt with any issue or
I wanna
subject
do
at
a
all?
painting.
No, I mean, like in Carmel, like where they have a bunch of them, yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that one. This is one of those.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine, but we get a lot of traffic.
Right.
But he said, I mean, because he actually made
Aren't you
the
gonna ask me about my
at the
weekend?
traffic
How
accidents,
everybody's doing?
he thought
Okay.
that like
How was
can
it?
decrease.
Did you go, did you go to the
And that
UK
was,
game?
last time I didn't either. That was 2008, the last time. He said he couldn't, so I don't.
I get my tickets after they start.
They were just starting, he was just starting.
All my friends call me on Friday and say,
Any city.
my wife didn't want to go tomorrow, would you go
Which is
tomorrow?
right by Indianapolis.
You know, I've never been inside Commonwealth Stadium.
Yeah.
Nope.
You wanna go?
Put that tailgating. If you put those cold beers down, go inside the place.
She just forgets to go in.
Katie, what'd you think about the Serena deal?
I didn't get to see it.
Where
I
did she
She's
go?
had a makeover.
I tell you
didn't
what,
get to
she's,
see it, but she's kind of scary.
she is scary.
We were talking about her the other day, like, gosh,
Is she the one that's hurt?
like a thoroughbred.
No, she's the one that,
She yelled at the ref or something?
well,
Again?
she hit a great shot.
She threatened the line judge too.
Yeah, last year she
Oh,
threatened to
shades
kill
of
the
John
line
McEnroe.
judge, and this year she hit a great shot. And before it even gone past the other player, she went, yeah! And of course, that's distracting as hell when you're trying to play tennis. So the ump, assessed her a point, which made her lose that game, and then, she was going off on
She won what, 6-2, 6-2 or something?
she lost 6-2, 6-2.
Really lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stoser. And it might have been 6-3. And I have to confess that I checked my ESPN, and do you want to know?
Yeah.
Djokovic won the first two sets, and they're in a tiebreaker in the third set right now.
We gotta get home.
I know. Susan DVR'd it though.
She
So.
did, she's such a good one.
Oh,
I tell you what, I definitely,
I do too.
I overmarried, yeah.
I-
Everybody needs a good wife.
I need one of those.
I overmarried.
You got married.
There's no doubt about that.
I
If it weren't for
undermarried.
Susan, I'd be living somewhere and taking a shower at the YMCA.
Oh, boy. Wasn't there a song like?
I tell you what though, if it weren't for women,
Yeah.
men would be living in caves and we'd be happy.
Oh, speaking of, I don't know why, you think of it, here's an open records we need to ask you about. This one. She asked for ambulance records and dispatch logs and a police report. And of course, ambulance logs are, I mean, they're not, you can't release them without redacting stuff.
Right, without
Okay?
redacting the medical
Correct.
information.
So, okay, so that's fine. But then you get over here in the police report, and it's got a lot of the same stuff on it that the ambulance report has. And that's not, necessarily redactable.
Why not?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Now, there's a bunch of things, let me see, there was one thing in here that, it talks here in their report about this woman she was pulled over for suspected DUI, but she had surgery and had various drugs in her system. I guess all that should be redacted. That was the thing we kind of thought.
I think you could probably turn it loose, but if you don't want to, you could. I mean, that's,
That
that's
stuff
not,
really bothers
just
me.
because she said she had surgery on her ears doesn't mean that she did
does.
it. I mean, that's not a doctor's statement. If it was a
No.
doctor's statement, I think it would come out, but.
And that's like, and of course, the police, they don't redact anything like this because it is all,
Yeah, I don't think you need to redact it.
all right, well, that's what, hello? This is she. Pardon me? Yes, yes. Oh, my mother said that. My mother should talk to me. I have very limited time. What have you got, what are you suggesting? I'm in a city commission meeting, they just now broke up, so.
That tells you how much free time you have.
No, but I'd like to hear what you propose, but I really would be better suited to talk tomorrow morning about it. If that's okay, can you call me in the morning then? Because I'd really like to talk to you about it. I work for the city and I work all the time, because they meet every Monday and I'm required to be here. So I never have a moment. But anyway, let me have your name again. Diane Mason. Do I know you from somewhere, Diane? Maybe. I've been here a long time, so I know a lot of people and a lot of names. And that, it's ringing a bell, but like I said, I've lived here a long time. I don't know, maybe not. Oh, really? No, my husband might know him. My husband was city police forever. Okay. Okay. It's a small world, let me tell you. All right. Well, call me in the morning and we'll talk. And that way I'll have a chance to kind of be rested. It's nice to talk to you though. Thanks for calling. Bye-bye.
You want to take this and put it on your desk?
Oh, no, bring it here.
it?
Thank you though, yeah.
You want me to carry any of this stuff?
You've got your own stuff to carry. I'll
I've
take
just got
that.
that, that's it. This is all your stuff here.
Oh, it is?
None of that's mine.
All right, well, all right. I didn't know that. My brother, my baby brother, was getting married for the third time. So I run this office. We're not, it's not a joyful event necessarily. I'm the one trying to play run interference between my mother and my other brother, who's not happy at all, and my son, who thinks it's ridiculous, because Tim just wants instant gratification, never. And I'm trying to say, well, I don't think it's a good move either, but if he's happy, I want him to be happy, and I want family. So this woman is a friend of the bride who lives in Frankfort. My brother's moved to Frankfort. They were college sweethearts at one time.
What's her name?
Mary Linda Wilson. She lives at Montrose Park and knows at an event last Monday. What's her name? I can't think of her name. Came up to me and said, I think that your brother's dating my neighbor. It's like, well, small town. So, but this woman said, well, your mother said, I understand that your mother said you'd be glad to help out at the reception. And when the commissioners tonight are talking about, having these meetings on Saturday, in October, I got a wedding to go to on one of those Saturdays. I'm occupied. So anyway, you never can quite get a break. There's always something.
I'm taking these tapes.
Oh, thank you. I'll get,
And I've got the.
and I'll come back in the morning, see, and get the water and all that stuff. Then I'll just drop the tea. No.
I thought you stick the candy back in the candy jar.
Yeah, do that. That's what I wanted to